we're sort of drifting apart and the pieces aren't talking to each other enough. Barbara Tushman, who was a well-known American historian, said, folly is when you fail to act in your own interests, knowing better. And I think from what I've heard tonight is we've got the data. If you just listen to this conversation, we've got the data. I've been asking people whether we are in a crisis, on our way to a crisis, or we don't have a crisis. Because what we're going through is a pretty reasonable outcome of our history in a very contested society that is full of conflict. Its whole history is based on conflict. And it's a natural process got to unfold over many decades. And we're jumping to the gun. We're expecting everything to work prematurely. So some people are saying, no, we're not in a crisis. This is what one must expect. Many other people say we're on our way to a crisis because of the indicators we have. And the number we haven't talked about is a 2% or less growth rate. And the socio-economic consequences of that with a younger generation who have every right to expect a different outcome and are taking action about it. And I think that is the game changer. So I think we have to step back. I mean, I look around at who's in this room, and I look at what are our interests, and what is our knowledge base, and what's our level of energy, because we're going to have to work for the kind of country we want. If we want South Africa to be a successful democracy and not weaken the institutions Dave is talking about, and if we are going to hold leaders accountable, then I don't know whose job it is. Is it young people? Is it angry, unemployed people? Is it professionals? Is it entrepreneurs? Is it government leadership? But I certainly know that we in the room have to be part of the answer and come back to another level of activism. Because South Africa is no longer an economy based on nature's work. The entire 20th century we benefited, starting with diamonds and gold, then iron and coal, and then platinum, from nature's work. But we're now a knowledge economy. 65% of our GDP is services. So if we don't fix the education crisis and we don't hold leaders accountable, we cannot build a smart economy. And Africa's promise is not for us to manufacture. It's to be a service provider to the African continent, to the rest of the African continent. So I think there's a danger that in our exhaustion at the end of November, beginning of December, as we all dash to try and recover from the year, we're not thinking deep enough about action, about what is a creative middle class. Is the middle class just going to step aside and let all the other actors take the initiative? So those are some of the thoughts that are on my mind.